Next, I have Kim Kelsey.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Kelsey. My son Alec was not able to be here, so here he is. Stick him right there so you get a face with it, if you can see it. Madam Chair and members of the Senate, thank you for allowing me to share my story with you today. My name is Kim Kelsey. I live in Excelsior with my husband Mark, our daughter Morgan, and our son Alec. I am here in support of medical cannabis for Alec and the thousands of Minnesotans with intractable epilepsy and patients that need it. For those of you that don't know what intractable is, it's when multiple medicines have been tried but have failed to control someone's seizures. It was the morning of Mother's Day, May 12, 1996, when we woke to find Alec, who's now 22, in his bed, unconscious, barely clinging to life. EMTs performed CPR, intubated him in our kitchen, and he was airlifted to the hospital where he spent 18 days in a coma. The doctors told us that assuming if Alec would live and wake up from the coma, he was rated at best to be in a vegetative state for the rest of his life. Well, Alec did wake from the coma and went on to defy all of the odds. He had to relearn everything from the basic things like eating, talking, walking, etc. We got him back, and that was miracle number one. The formal diagnosis was encephalitis, a high fever that caused him to have a seizure in the middle of the night, and he aspirated, leaving him deprived of oxygen for an unknown period of time. The result, bilateral brain damage, which led to what now has been an 18-year battle with life-threatening seizures. Initially, we were told it could take up to 2 years to find the right medication. And here we are, 18 years and 24 anticonvulsants later. Alec's seizures remain uncontrolled. Today, he takes a combination of 5 medications and 32 pills a day, and they don't stop the seizures that he has daily. To put this in more perspective, a leading Minnesota neurologist recently told us that for any patient that has exhausted as many meds as Alec and remains uncontrolled, the likelihood of a new anticonvulsant working for him is less than 3%. Alec's seizures are life-threatening, so my husband and I are with him 24/7. And when I say 24/7, I truly mean it. Alec is 22 years old. He is 6 feet 2 inches tall, 175-pound young man that is physically capable but cannot be left alone. My husband sleeps with him, must be in the shower with him, and he is under our supervision at all times. He has no freedoms. We carry an emergency medication called Diastat, which must be delivered rectally to stop a seizure that could take his life. Imagine me or yourself in the aisle of Target trying to administer this medication to a 6'2", 175-pound young man in a life and death situation. I've done it way too many times. He is also considered at high risk for SUDEP, which stands for sudden unexplained death in epilepsy. This puts him at risk of death even when he is not seizing. We have been around the country for every conceivable test to see if he would be a surgical candidate, which he is not. That's the negative side of the story. But Alec will not allow us to look at it that way. People ask us all the time, how do you cope with it all? Our response is Alec is the one walking around not knowing when he might have a seizure. What right do we have to complain? He has shown us what it means to persevere. From the beginning, he did not only not complain, he always found a way to make the best of it, and that's what we've done as his parents, try to create a life for him. He was the winning kid at age 9 for the Epilepsy Foundation and got to throw out the first pitch at the Twins game. Still a huge highlight in his life. Alec was born an athlete and has a ferociously competitive spirit. This is how he beat the odds then and why he lives for sports today. He was able to play mainstream sports until he was 11 and then was involved in the adapted athletics program since 7th grade until he graduated. He participated in 4 varsity sports within the adapted program. He lettered 19 times, was all conference in all 4 sports, led his team to the state tournament in all sports, and won the championship in bowling. He was also awarded the Einar Anderson Athlete of the Year Award by his entire senior class of 2010 from Minnetonka High School. Today he competes with our Special Olympics delegation that our family has started, the West Metro Warriors. We started this for him in 2007 with 5 athletes to ensure that he would have a competitive outlet. He is a leader in our delegation that has now grown to support more than 75 athletes and their families. Alec is a global messenger for Special Olympics. He accompanies executives to fundraising and awareness events and delivers his story in the form of a 5-minute speech. This is actually my first speech I've ever given, so he was giving me pointers last night on what to do. I actually forgot to take the deep breath that he told me right before, but it's okay. One of the lines in his speech is, "I have seizures all the time, but it never stops me, and it won't stop me. I love playing sports." This is so true. When he was little, he would have a seizure on the ice during a hockey game, and my husband would carry him off the ice to the bench. And the first thing out of his mouth when he regained consciousness, "Dad, don't let me miss my shift." We have done all we can, and we will continue to do all we can to never let him miss another shift. Last weekend at the Special Olympics state basketball tournament, Alec had a seizure in the first half of the semifinal game. I ran the length of the court as he stood stiff, about to fall to the ground, not breathing. Caught him, as we have 100% of the time. Got him to the bench, and he rested. He came back to finish the game in the 4th quarter. That's just who Alec is. The frequency and severity of his seizures don't allow him to participate in a traditional work program like his buddies. He's more than capable of contributing to society, so we started a screen printing company for him. He and his friends with intellectual disabilities work the business. We started this in Minnesota. This is where we're from, this is where we live, and we've made a life for him, and we don't want to have to leave. Alec has definitely paid his dues and deserves to live the rest of his life seizure and side effect free. Unfortunately, we've run out of options. The years have taken a toll on his body. As conditioned he is and how important sports and being in shape is, we have had to have his liver function test be monitored constantly, and he was just in the last 3 weeks diagnosed with palindromic arthritis, which is likely drug-induced. 18 years of these meds have taken its toll. He trembles uncontrollably and suffers from neuropathy. He won't give up on himself, and we won't give up on finding a cure. Time is not on our side. To be honest, medical cannabis is the closest thing that we have had to a potential cure or miracle that we've heard or seen and read about in a very long time. It's been a very, very difficult debate to listen to. We are so sympathetic to all the people that would benefit from the legalization of medical cannabis in its most abundant form. We are fighting and hopeful for something very, very different for Alec. We won't be around forever. We don't know who will be there to take care of him. The oil extract with no psychoactive properties that we're searching for, you could not get high from it. It could only help. Unlike other people, we are not able to buy a safe and effective form of what we would need on the street. Instead, we would need to travel to another state and transport it across state lines to Minnesota. If caught, we would face felony drug trafficking charges, which is not a petty misdemeanor, as has been suggested before. We are not willing to do this. What we need is legal access with appropriate regulation to ensure the safety and efficacy of what we would provide for Alec. And now what we need, and we're counting on you to help us achieve miracle number 2. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing. Are there any questions for Ms. Kelsey? Thank you again. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.